Hello, new player of Hegemon. This is East Germany's going great, also known alternatively as Das Frage, or very commonly as my country name Sabava. Today I'm going to teach you how to create your own nation page for your country in this nation RP, and what you should generally expect quality-wise for what you should include in your nation. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to actually create the physical page for your country. For this tutorial, I'm going to utilize one of my sub-countries, but you will be doing this likely for your main country, so some things might be slightly different. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go here into this Search Wiki box. If you ever want to create a new article, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. I'm just going to type in the name of the country. In my case, that'll be Hegemon. This can be whatever. And then you're going to hit enter to search. You're going to click here to create the page for the first time. And that's going to bring you into the default editor. To get started, the first thing you're going to want to do is to write a very brief summary about your country, like 2 or 3 sentences long. That's basically just its name, where it is, kind of what it's doing. A really easy way to do this is actually to go to regular countries or real life countries Wikipedia page, for example. So here you can see kind of what a general template is for a real life country. The main things you're going to want to take away from this is there's a very brief description of its name, sort of what its deal is, and then a brief description of its history, and then it goes into more detailed sections. For Hegemon, we're going to just quickly write this little detailed summary or broad summary, and then I'll get back to you to show you what that looks like. So now that we have a little quick write-up for Hegemon, I'm just going to take you through the basic components of this information. The first thing you'll notice is we have these bold letters. That's pretty simple. You can just choose from here or use the Control-B tooltip to make your text bold. And we can see we have the main component parts. This is a very simple introduction. This is the bare bones for any kind of wiki page. Obviously, you would probably want to expand this with some more information back, but this is perfectly serviceable if this is all you feel up to write. So we have the names, the different names. We have a common short name, the official name of the nation, as well as a more formal or otherwise colloquial name. And we have a description of what it is, Sapavi Sister Republic, I'll get to that in a second, where it is in Eritrea, and who governs it, this mess of characters. We have a very brief history of what it is, when it was founded in 1927, and what its sort of historical position was, that it was once 3 separate nations and it was conquered by another country, and when that happened. This is just like a very brief overview. This is sort of all you would need. A couple of formatting things here. We already talked about the boldness. These are links to other wiki pages you can see. Now, the easiest way to do this is, for example, Eritrea, where it's located. You generally want to link to a general location. The easiest way is going to go to this little hyperlink here. I'm just going to pop up this box. I'm just going to type in what page you want to. Simple as that. Click on it. There it is. It's right there. Now, let's say, for example, we wanted to specify that it's in West Eritrea. Well, we can click on this already made link we have here in this blue box, and we can edit the text without actually changing the page that it links to, which kind of helps a lot, because a lot of times we don't have the thing that we want to reference isn't the exact same name as the way that it's written, or the page is written. Another way that you can do this, for example, is you can, instead of going to, you can just hit Control-K, do the same thing. And there you go. Another useful tip. Obviously, when you're writing something as complex as a country's history, you're not going to have already written all the background information. This wiki page, or the party that rules it, hasn't been written. The way that you do this is you just, for example, hit Control-K or the link button, and you just start typing experts agree on this, for whatever. It'll say page does not exist yet. You can insert it, and the link will be red, and then you can click on it, and it'll take you to a page creation page. But it isn't actually created. It's sort of useful for when you want to signify that something is important by giving it a hyperlink, even if you don't necessarily already have the page set up. Now, once you've written that, and you want to just get the page created with some very simple information about it. This is what you want. It's going to hit save changes here. Save changes. You want to finish the page. Voila! Now your page is finished. Now what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to add some visual flair to your page to make it more distinct and to make it look more like an actual Wikipedia page. Obviously, no actual Wikipedia pages just look like a couple of sentences on an empty page, and we're trying to go for a very Wiki. So the first thing that you're going to want to do to sort of fit the format is you're going to want to add a country info box. And this is even though it seems kind of complicated, this is actually a pretty simple process. So you're going to want to make sure that you're selected before the first word of your article, in this case, Haskell, and you're going to go to Insert and then Template. This is going to pop up a menu for templates, and this is where you can find a lot of things. Usually they're called info boxes for organizations, treaties, historical battles, whatever. But in this case, what we're going to be looking for is an info box with a country. So we're going to type in info box country. Capitalization doesn't matter because this is a very different system. And it's going to be the first result here. Any of these other options, they're just formatting things. You don't really need them. You just want to stick with the simple info box country. It's going to pop up this menu, which is just a series of areas that you can have filled out for your info box. There's only a couple of ones that you are really going to want, but if you want to go crazy, you can go through and add all of these or as many of these as you want. So now we're just going to go through some of the very basic components that you're going to want for your country info box. So the way that you're going to select these is you're going to go through and just click the checkboxes here. There is a lot of them, and it's kind of hard to just read through them. So you can also always go to, for example, Find Field, and if you wanted to find the map section, just type in map. It'll bring it up here on the left, and it's also going to only show the map on the thing. You can just click out of this and go back to showing all of the ones that you have selected in this right box. So as you can see, we have some pretty basic information. We have their name, we have their common name. Also going to want to have their native name, which is going to be Haskell, but you'll usually want to put this in their script or their specific language. If it's the same in English as it is in their language, you can just leave it as it is. We're also going to have our national motto and our demonym for the people living there, Haji. And I'm just going to show you a couple of other things you can do. So for example, because this country is a sub-country of Sapala, it's going to include the today part of section. And here's something interesting you can do is you can actually link other wiki articles in the info box. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to have put two brackets here. I'm going to type the name of the wiki article. So in this case, Sapala. And you're going to close it with brackets there. And then when that info box pops up, it's just going to be a link to the country page. Another thing I want to show you how to do is to add media to these because that's how they really look good. And for this case, we've selected the flag, the national anthem, and the map of the country for the media that we want to have. Though, of course, you can always add the coat of arms, other symbols, another flag, etc. So the way that we're going to upload media onto the wiki, this is the easiest way to do it, is you're going to go to Wiki here, the main page again. You're going to go to Special Pages. I'm going to scroll down here to Media Reports and Uploads. I'm going to go to Upload File. And here it's going to tell you how to upload files. But basically, you're just going to source file name. You're going to choose a file. We're going to choose from our little folder here. And we're going to upload the flag. You're going to see the flag is going to pop up here. You're going to name the file that you want here. You can type a summary. So we're going to say National Flag of Haskell. And then you're going to click Upload File. And it's going to pop up this page here, which is, I guess, is going to be a thing. And then you're going to copy this, the top here, where it says File. And go back to your info box. And you're just going to put this here. And it's going to pop up here. And then now it's haskellflag.png, and that'll pop up in your info box. You can also do the same thing for MP3s or videos or such. So this is going to be the national anthem. Upload file. It might take a minute because an MP3 file is much larger than a PNG typically. I'm going to do the same thing here. Select the file name, go here. For the national anthem, what you might want to do is you're going to use commas, and you're going to type the title of the national anthem. And then you're going to put in the same way you would insert a link, the same file. Then lastly, we're going to add the map, and it's just going to be the same. I'll just go back here as uploading the flag. Upload the file. Right. Then, when you're done with everything you want to add in here, you're going to click Insert. And voila! Now you have a very basic info box. It's getting blocked a little bit here, but for example, if you wanted to ever change it when you're in edit mode, you just click Edit. It's going to bring up this thing. Yep, there's our info box. Now that you have your info box all set up, you're going to want to add some sections that isn't just plain text. And the best way to do this, it's pretty simple, is you're just going to go up here to the top next to these arrows where it says paragraph, and click a little drop-down menu. It'll tell you the different formatting options, just like a Google Docs. Best kind of sections you're going to want is if you go heading, it'll create this line. So for example, we're going to want the heading of history. And then that'll create our little subsection there. It'll go back to paragraph by default. Then we're going to create the subheading, and we're going to divide history into different periods. So we're going to say pre-unification. And we're going to also say under imperial rule. And then we're going to say Stratist Federation. And those will be our 3 broad periods. Another thing you can do is if you go into this section, we can, for example, add different subheadings. So we'll say ancient period, and we can say the pre-modern period, etc. And then you can kind of you just type in normal text. Begin in the 9th century, etc., etc. Some other sections that you're generally going to have is maybe government and politics, and then I would say demographics and culture. And these 3 broad sections will generally include everything you need in a pretty basic page. You're definitely going to want the history, just stuff about how the government currently works, what the peoples and nations that are living. When we go to save changes here, you can see it's going to pop us up a little table of contents that will let you navigate larger pages just by clicking on this link and it's down here. Also, this is just a bug with Wikipedia, but if you ever get this error where it puts all the text below the info box, just reload your page and it'll go back to the regular format. Now that we have this very basic skeleton of what an article might look like, I'm just going to write a couple of these sections to kind of show you what formatting and what a finished wiki page is going to look like. Now that we have some basic history written under this section, we're going to introduce just some basic rules of how you want to format and write your history. A general rule of thumb is each section that you write, each subsection should usually have about 2 paragraphs of writing. Each paragraph will be about 3 or 4 sentences. In addition to this ratio, you generally want to have about 1 image for every 2 paragraphs of text. So basically, you want 1 image for every 1 or 2 sections that you write. So for example, this section, 3 principalities here, you're going to want an image just to kind of visually spice it up. Of course, we've also included links to lots of other pages just so people can kind of see what. Some examples of images might be maps of the region so that people understand like what areas you're talking about, maybe like where these 3 kingdoms were, for example. But what we're going to choose here is actually just going to be a sort of decorative image. It's going to be an image of art or life from that region. So the easiest way you're going to want to introduce an image is you're going to go up here to Insert, and you're going to go Images and Media. Now here you can choose from all the separate images you've already uploaded to the wiki if you have already. But what you're going to want to do for a new image is you're going to want to go over to the right here on Upload. It's going to take you to this file. This is another way to upload media to the wiki when you're already editing the page. So you're going to go to Select a File, and we're going to choose our 16th century print artwork here. click This is my own work. You're going to add a description. And a lot of times this description can just be the same as the title, or it can even just be a little bit more suspended. This is just, it's not necessary. I'm going to click Save. Use this image. And now you're going to want to write a caption. So here we're going to write a Hajj prince's portrait from the mid-16th century. And this caption is going to appear underneath the image. Now you can also go into advanced. You can change the size, for example, or the position, for example, or the image type. Most you're going to want to keep the thumbnails, but if you want a really big image, you can choose frame or and then you can adjust the size here, custom, or leave it default. Now, what I like to do is I like to alternate my images between left and right, just so that there's a bit of visual space. So I'm going to add this one to the left side of the page. You can see it's just going to pop up here. It's going to look a little funky because there's not really any text on this page right now. But once it's all filled out, you're going to get something a little more cohesive, which I can show you, which I'll show you in just a minute what a finished page might look like. So this is the country of Somara. It's a country in Southeast Ignica that I'm going to use as my example because it's in general a very well polished page. It's created by our very talented user Slippery. So letting me use this as your example. As you can see, we have a very basic introduction to the country. We have a very detailed info box with lots of different links and information. And we have this great long table of contents that just shows us all the different parts of the page. And also scroll through, we have the etymology, the history, and then we get into all the different tools. As you can see, there's lots of images used throughout. It's alternated whether they're on the left or right. And this is just generally what a very well done and finished country article might look like. This is something that if you have a lot of free time on your hands, you might want to get into just to really make your country stand out. And yeah, that's effectively how you're going to want to create any country page that you're going to use. If you have any questions, just at me at East or Fastdogge in the HM Discord, or leave a comment on this video. And yeah, thanks for watching.